Hello and welcome to the next video. For this video I have prepared an unconventional, interesting and maybe a little strange story that you will enjoy for me. Without further ado, we can go straight to it. In this story, William Afton has a personality reminiscent of Scott Calton and William from the games. Just like the game, William lost the people he loved in one incident, a wife and three children. Before the incident, William worked at a nearby restaurant that featured anthropomorphic animatronic animals: a wolf, a lion, a crow, and a clown who climbed out of his box to play his soporific melodies. Everything looked good until the day when William and his family crashed on one trip. William was the only one who survived that day. According to the police, his wife could have survived if she had not detached herself and reached for the crying Elizabeth. Before William, the road darkened. He closed in on himself. He took all the blame on himself and he couldn't handle it. He resorted to alcohol. No one could help him, not even his good friend Henry. He was forced to leave his job and with it the beautiful memories he had experienced there with his family. Alcohol was not enough. The pain grew and he began to compensate for it by creating games. At first, he intended an innocent arcade game. Then he wanted to give up and finally dawned in his head. How about creating a horror game? A game where the player will have to survive hours of gameplay by nausea, to be afraid for hours, and give up after a time of higher difficulty, just as William wanted to give up after the death of his wife and children. The game reflected the environment of the company where he worked. He created new characters. He replaced the wolf with a fox, to which he added a chicken, a bear, a rabbit, and a mysterious yellow bear. The yellow bear was supposed to reflect mystery, because William always wondered if he could somehow save his family that day. However, there were more things he wanted to reflect. The spring locks were supposed to reflect how William was pierced by reality, truth, and truth. Springtrap, on the other hand, was supposed to reflect William himself and thus his rotten core itself. The game was done, it was programmed and wonderfully reflected what William wanted. After testing, he put it on the internet. Anyone could download and play it on their VR device, but only William had a real copy, and thus all the mysteries of the game. The right copy was a CD. One day, William wanted to launch it again. After starting the game, everything looked fine. As usual, William was greeted by a menu offering start, new game, and extras. Meanwhile, the three main animatronics Freddy, Bonnie, Chica towered above him, and behind him was the third animatronic Foxy. William wanted to play the game again, to have fun again and stop thinking about the world that surrounded him. After starting a new game, he found himself in that old familiar card. However, something looked different. The game started to glitching. The image became hypnotically uneven. William began to feel sick. He quickly reached for his VR glasses, but it was as if someone had nailed them to his head. Visions appeared before his eyes, but not ordinary hallucinations. They were kind of like nightmares, so real, so scary. He was to his 8-bit minigames, minigames that were supposed to tell you a story shrouded in mystery. William opened his eyes. He was disoriented, but managed to sit up. He could feel the cold floor beneath him. The smell of oil, dust, and mustiness was strong. When William looked around, he realized that he was in a place he knew. He was in his game, but how? He didn't know that. Thus began his adventure. At first, confused and worried about how he got there, he slowly got used to this place. He had no choice but to play games, repeat the levels over and over again to finally move up just one comma. His ups and downs drove his mind crazy. He faced death so many times that he was no longer even afraid when an animatronic jumped at him from around the corner. He didn't meet anyone in the game. At first, it was strange to him that no one signed up for the game, but then he didn't take note of it. He stopped counting the days, months, and years that had passed since the incident when he got here. In the end, he fell into complete madness. He began to lean towards what he knew best and what best described him: Springtrap. William created a new suit. He didn't know how robotics worked, so he sewed a simple yellow rabbit costume. After completion, he put on the suit. He began to wander around the game and looked for various other corners that he could forget over time. He mapped the whole area. He created tapes using game code. These were supposed to confuse the potential player, to provide him with information about the story. In addition, they were supposed to bring the player closer to William. If William is now a virus in the game, he could take over someone. At least that's what he remembered from the movies. After some time, someone signed up from the game, quite possibly a man. Check.